MMA Fighting presents Timeline, Michael Bisping vs. George St-Pierre. January 31st, 2004. UFC 46 Supernatural, Las Vegas, Nevada. The 5-0 George St-Pierre makes his UFC debut against top-ranked contender Karo Parisyan at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. St-Pierre wins by unanimous decision. June 24th, 2006. The Ultimate Fighter Finale 3, Las Vegas, Nevada. Light heavyweight Michael Bisping is booked for his first official fight in the UFC. He is set to face fellow reality show contestant Josh Haynes. Bisping defeats Haynes by KO in round 2 and becomes the Ultimate Fighter Season 3 winner. Bisping would go on to win his next 3 fights at light heavyweight before losing a decision to Rashad Evans at UFC 78. April 19, 2008, UFC 83, Serra vs. St-Pierre 2, Montreal, Quebec. We fast forward to April 2008. After winning the UFC welterweight belt at UFC 65 over Matt Hughes, GSP would go on to lose the belt to massive underdog Matt Serra at UFC 69, in what many consider the greatest upset in MMA history. After working his way back up the ranks, the now interim 170-pound champ is set to rematch the champion, Matt Serra, in St-Pierre's home province of Quebec. GSP proves the first fight was a fluke and easily dispatches of Matt Serra by second round TKO. July 11, 2009, UFC 100, Las Vegas, Nevada. The GSP era is now in full stride. After dominating title defenses over John Fitch at UFC 87 and BJ Penn at UFC 94, GSP is set to face Muay Thai specialist Thiago Alves in the co-main event. GSP wins by unanimous decision. Just one bout before St-Pierre's, Michael Bisping faces former Pride champion Dan Henderson. At the time, Bisping was undefeated at middleweight with 3 straight victories. Bisping would lose by knockout. March 27, 2010, UFC 111, St-Pierre vs. Hardy, Newark, New Jersey. The reigning welterweight champion St-Pierre is set to defend his belt against Dan the Outlaw Hardy.
What are the next 48 hours looking like for you in terms of what you do mentally to prepare for the fight?
Right now, I see it a little bit like like somebody that play golf. I already swing the ball is already in the air. My training is done. I cannot do nothing else to get more prepared than I am right now. I cannot be in better shape, cannot be stronger, it's all done. So just, I believe now it's more mental and tactical, you know?
He says that he's mentally stronger than you. Do you feel as though that people still rely on that 2007 fight against, that was the only time that you've really been rocked and people keep bringing it up, you've done so much since then?
Absolutely, it's there is no certainty in mixed martial art. Nobody is invincible. The only thing I can control is that I've done the perfect training camp of my career, and by doing so, I flip all the odds in my favor.
Despite the dominating performance, GSP is unable to finish and ends up winning by unanimous decision.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm not happy about my performance. The way I fight, it's very scientific. I always. My goal is to win. Like tonight, my goal is to win, and I didn't want to engage the battle where my opponent is the strongest. I wanted to fight him where he's the weakest. Even though I could probably have stand up with Hardy, it's mathematic. If I would have stand up with Hardy, his stand up, even though I believe my stand up is superior, but it could have been a risk because that's his main asset. If I go on the ground, I knew my ground was much better than his, so it was smarter for me to go on the ground and take the fight where he's the weakest. And that's how I fight. I want to have a long career, and I want to be champion for a long time, and I want to be the greatest. I wanted to take him out. Tonight, I wanted to take him out, and to take him out, I had to fight him where he was the weakest, but I did it, unfortunately.
Dana, obviously a lot of questions about this event, but let's start with GSP. You said that a lot of people were texting you. They were unhappy about this show. Some British journalists were saying that they were comparing GSP to Floyd Mayweather. Were you impressed with what he did out there?
Hey, listen, every fight you have isn't going to be the most exciting fight in the world. And you know me, I want exciting fights. But George St-Pierre, you know, he went out there, it was a dominant performance. He's unhappy with his performance too. So, yeah, listen, I'm not going to sit here and smash the kid. You know, like I said, it was a dominant performance. He wanted to do better. I obviously wanted better, but Dan Hardy came to fight, man. Dan Hardy's a tough kid with a lot more game than people gave him credit for or realized. And, you know, it is what it is.
October 16th, 2010, UFC 120, Bisping versus Akiyama, London, England. After a victory over Dan Miller at UFC 114, Bisping is booked as the main event in his home country of England against Yoshihiro Akiyama at the O2 Arena in London.
And in your mind, is this sort of the time for you to put it all together? I mean, you know, won a few, lost a few, things like that, but now you're looking to get on this winning streak. Do you view this as your time because you're getting all this attention?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, as you said, I've had some mixed results, but you know, I've only ever been stopped once in my life. You know, the other two losses, you know, I've been to legends in their own right, and you know, they're very, very close split decisions. The only real loss was to Dan Henderson. You know, I learned a lot from that. I made some mistakes in that fight, and I've learned from it. I'm truly a better fighter. I feel I'm maturing as a fighter now, and now it's time to make a run at the title. I feel everything's come together: my boxing, my conditioning, my strength program, my jiu-jitsu, my wrestling. Thanks to all my coaches, and yeah, I feel I'm ready. You know, I know I've said it before, but I truly do. Now I feel like it's time to go for it.
Bisping wins by a unanimous decision.
You know, I feel I'm growing as a fighter. I said it leading up to the fight. I feel like I'm really maturing now, and everything's coming together, my skill set, etc., etc. And now I'm ready. You know, I mean, if I can't do it now, I'm never going to do it. I feel now is my time. You know, I had a good fight against Miller. I was relatively happy tonight. Nearly put him away, but you know, never quite managed to do it. But still, a win's a win. It was a good win. I want to fight another top guy, whoever it is. You know, I want to fight the best out there. I think one more win against a real credible opponent, I think that should get me a title shot, but obviously it's not up to me, is it?
December 11th, 2010, UFC 124, St-Pierre versus Koscheck 2, Montreal, Quebec. St-Pierre returns to Canadian soil and faces Josh Koscheck once again.
So now I'm fighting Josh Koscheck. I fought him before, and people say, oh, the pressure is on you, you're in Montreal. It's true, I'm in Montreal, you know, but I'm at my best when I'm fighting in my hometown. But also, if I win against Josh Koscheck, when I'm going to beat him, it's going to be the end of it. It's going to be 2 times that I beat him. And if he has the same mentality as me, Josh Koscheck going to have to reconsider the career, because if he wants to be the best, now he's going to lose 2 times to me. It's going to take a long time again before he go to the title, or maybe never again. So he's going to have to claim up the ladder a long time. So I'm going to beat him Saturday night, and it's going to be the end of it. I'm not going to talk about him for a long, long time, and I'm going to feel very happy.
How do you expect this fight to play out?
Expect and still UFC welterweight champion George Rush St-Pierre by finish.
St-Pierre jabs his way to victory, breaking the challenger's orbital bone early in the fight. GSP wins by decision.
I wanted to finish a knockout or a submission, and he's very tough, you know. Like I closed his right eye, so I was going a lot with the hook and the high left kick, because I want to knock him out, you know, standing up. But he's very good, you know. Like, he's very tough, and my punches didn't land on the target, on this chin, as much as I want to finish him up. But next time, you know, it was a good fight, entertaining, but I wanted to finish him. That was my goal, and I did not reach my goal. This question is a little bit complicated, because if I go up in a weight class, I'm gonna have to put muscle in, you know, muscle on my body, you know, because I'm gonna be too small for 185. So if I put muscle on my body and I go up to 185, I'm gonna have to stay in 185. You know, I don't want to go up and down, because when you go up and down, you see what happened to Roy Jones. They messed up the reaction time. And boxing and mixed martial art is different weight class. In boxing, I think it's 8 pounds or 10 pounds, if I'm 7. But and in MMA, mixed martial art, it's 15 pounds, so it's even more. So play with your weight. You need to be careful with that, you know. So I'll see. You know, I just finished my fight. I did not even consider that the question. I haven't talked about it yet.
February 26, 2011, UFC 127 Penn vs. Fitch, Sydney, Australia. Following his victory in England, Bisping's next fight is in Australia against Jorge Rivera.
Other than winning your third fight in a row, what does Michael Bisping have to gain from beating Jorge Rivera?
Well, pride, respect. You know, I need to teach this guy a lesson. He's massively underestimating me, as usual. People seem to do that. You know, he's been very, very insulting towards me as a fighter, and I take that seriously. You know, I mean, I dedicate a lot of time and effort, and you know, this is my career. Just like, you know, your career as a journalist. If someone was attacking you so venomously, you know, you'd be upset and want to prove a point. And the same with me as a fighter. You know, I dedicate my life to this, and you know, he's him and other people around him. You know, they're making slanderous remarks and this and that. So yeah, you know, I want to teach him a lesson. Obviously, I want to win the fight. I want to get paid and move closer towards a title shot. But I also want to put him in his place and make an example of him.
Bisping wins by knockout, but it comes with much controversy.
So I just want to get your thoughts on, you know, the knee first off and what happened after. We spoke to his manager, Lex McMahon. He says that you should be suspended for the knee because you did it on purpose. First, how do you respond to that?
There's absolutely no way I need him on purpose, you know. I'd never do that. I'd never disrespect the sport and the rules, you know. I mean, I like to be a good ambassador for the sport, and I try my best. You know, it happens quite a lot, you know. I mean, there's a fine line between being on the ground and not. He was getting up. I pulled the trigger a little early. I was a little excited, you know, and I apologise for that. And I was penalised accordingly. I had a point taken off, and it could have cost me the fight if I hadn't finished it in the second round. But, you know, yeah, I'm sorry about that. I didn't want to do that. You know, I like to fight fair. You know, I don't want to be a dirty fighter, and I don't feel I am. You know, but yeah, you know, I regret that. But as I said, it was heat at the moment. I made a mistake, and I was penalised.
Finally, there seems to be confusion about what happened at the end. Did you deliberately spit at his corner?
No, not at all. I was spitting on the floor to let him know what I thought of him. You know what I mean? And I apologise for that. You know, I never want to act like that. And you know, I apologise for losing my cool. I mean, it was, yeah. I mean, he talked a lot of things. He said a lot of things. He mocked me for the world to see. And I tried to bite my tongue and take the higher ground. You know, but once I started letting my fist fly, it was like the floodgates of emotion opened, and it all came boiling out. And you know. You know, I said something and I was spitting on the floor to let him know what I thought of him. I didn't mean to spit though, so I do apologise for that wholeheartedly.
April 30th, 2011. UFC 129 St-Pierre vs. Shields, Toronto, Ontario. St-Pierre is booked against Jake Shields to defend his title at the Rogers Centre in Toronto, Ontario.
So, you know, in the lead up to this fight, you've almost had to sort of convince people how dangerous Jake Shields is. It's been interesting, and you've had to do this for your last few fights, telling people what this guy has done and how tough he is. Does that get annoying after a while, that you have to almost tell the critics out there that you shouldn't sleep on this guy?
Absolutely not. If I get in cruise control, I'm gonna lose the fight. So I fight the best guy that I've fought. And I'm glad to fight him. I want to fight him for a long time, and Jake Shields is going to bring the best of me into that fight. I look forward to it.
You know how people are always looking for things to criticize you about. In the back of your mind, are you trying to finish this fight to just, you know, not answer those questions anymore about your fights going the distance?
No, tell you the truth. I want the finish. You know, it's hard to finish a guy that doesn't allow them, you know, doesn't completely goes forward, you know, to attack me, you know. A lot of guys, but I know one thing is Jake Shields gonna bring the best of George St-Pierre, and that's why I'm looking forward to this fight.
Over 55,000 fans filled the stadium to watch GSP once again defend his title and win by unanimous decision. The attendance and gate revenue break North American records for MMA.
GSP's performance, what do you think of it?
Listen, George St-Pierre, I think he won the fight. He was dominant. Something wrong with his eye. If you're looking for criticism from me, which sounds like you are, the only criticism I have is he was throwing a weird overhand right, like this looping overhand right, which I've never seen him do before. Usually he throws that straight Superman punch. His punches are straight down the pipe. I was trying to figure out why he kept throwing the same punch all night, and he's throwing it hard like he was trying to knock him out, like he was trying to force the knockout. So
is the criticism fair? Because, you know, I'm sure you heard from some fans and people talking already. He's not going for the finish. He doesn't seem to have that killer instinct. Would you agree with that?
Nobody said anything to me. When I was leaving here tonight, everybody said great fight. Nobody said anything negative about the fight whatsoever to me.
So no problems in terms of the fact that he hasn't finished anyone in a while or anything like that. He's just fighting tough guys, in your opinion.
Yeah, listen, when you're at the level he's at, you're going to continue to fight the best guys in the world, and George St-Pierre keeps winning. He keeps winning. He isn't catching anybody with any exciting front kicks or anything like that, but he's a winner.
January 28th, 2012, UFC on Fox 2, Evans vs. Davis, Chicago, Illinois. After filming a season of The Ultimate Fighter and defeating Jason Miller by TKO, the UFC books Bisping against higher-ranked Chael Sonnen.
He's the middleweight champion, he's the people champion, he's never been submitted, he's never lost a fight. Wrong, he's lost 11 fights, and a lot of them by submission. Listen, Chael Sonnen's a funny guy, he's great in interviews, but the champion is Anderson Silva, and I'm not looking past Chael Sonnen. All these interviews today, everybody's saying, oh, how does it feel? You've got a chance to fight Anderson. I'm like, whoa, slow down. Right. I haven't got a chance to fight Anderson. I've got to beat Chael Sonnen first, and he's a hell of a fighter. He's a very tough competitor. I'd be a fool to look past him, and I'm certainly not doing that.
We talked a bit about PEDs, right? And you were talking about Nate Marquardt. Well, Chael Sonnen in the past has used TRT. What is your thoughts on TRT, and do you feel as though it is giving fighters an unfair advantage? Yeah,
well, I've never used a steroid in my life. I've never failed a steroid test. You hear all these people talking about testosterone replacement therapy. If you've got to get your testosterone replaced, I think you're in the wrong sport, for one. I'm not a doctor, I know very little about it, but I would say that alpha males, don't have low testosterone. I know I certainly don't. I think that's why we get into an octagon or a cage and fight, because we're alpha males. And if you had low levels of testosterone, you'd probably be walking around with a purse and a handbag and wearing a dress. I'm a professional fighter and I monitor what I put in my body, but I'm not anal about it. I get drug tested every single fight, and I've never failed a drug test. And I use Tylenol, I use protein powder, I use this and that, you know what I mean? But I've never failed a drug test because I don't stick needles in my ass.
Sonnen would win a closely contested match by decision.
A lot of your fans very upset online right now. They think you won the fight. Do you agree with them?
Well, obviously, Chael Sonnen won the fight on the judges' scorecards, and congratulations to Chael. Personally, I feel I got the first 2 rounds, but, the oldest saying out there, never let it go to the judges. I did that tonight, so I've only got myself to blame.
A lot of people thought that he would dominate you on the ground with the wrestling, and you look very good, especially in those first 2 rounds. Do you feel as though you answered those questions about your wrestling tonight?
Yeah, listen, I know I can wrestle, and obviously Chael Sonnen knows I can wrestle now. He had trouble getting me down tonight, and as I always said, if I get taken down, I can get back to my feet. I should have pulled the trigger earlier in the 3rd round. I should have got back to my feet sooner. But yeah, I feel I answered my wrestling questions about my wrestling credentials a long time ago. But as I said, listen, I feel I won the fight. Chael even thinks that way. He said to me in the octagon, what do you think? And I said, I think I got the first 2 rounds, to be honest. And he said, I think you might be right. But as I said, on the scorecards, Chael got the fight. Congratulations to him. He fought a great fight, and good for him.
November 17th, 2012, UFC 154, St-Pierre vs. Condit, Montreal, Quebec. After being sidelined for over a year with a devastating knee injury, GSP returns to fight the now interim champion Carlos Condit.
But I don't want nothing less than a title shot, and fighting the best man in this division is Carlos Condit, and I don't want to come back and fight an easier guy. I want to be the top guy, and I need to fight the top guy, and I need to thank the UFC for the opportunity, and I'm very happy to be here and be fighting him.
And George, by now you have been asked all the questions about this fight, and I could tell you're getting a little tired. I did hear you say yesterday you're happy to see the media again, which warmed my heart. So I'm going to ask you some other questions today. Are you ready for this?
Really, I'm surprised. It's quite different as usual. It's all right.
You don't want me to ask you different questions?
No, I would love it, because I feel like a tape recorder,
I know. You're going through the motions, as they say in the business.
Yes, I'm on cruise control. Right. This answer, this question equal this answer. Blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't even think. It's just...
If there's one thing you could do that you haven't done in your life, regardless of UFC, MMA, all that stuff, what's the one thing GSP would like to do?
Would like to do? Going back in time. If I would have a time machine, that's the thing I would like to do.
Which era?
Cretaceous era. see the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
So like Jurassic Park.
Absolutely, that would be my dream.
Would you take me with you?
I would love taking you with you. Yeah.
It is a deal.
St-Pierre wins by unanimous decision.
I'm happy. I give everything I had. You know, I live everything I had in the octagon. I was exhausted. We say in French is an expression. My cornerman was yelling at me, put him in the red. Like in red, that's mean like give everything you have every round, so you come back, you're exhausted, and that's what I did. I give everything I had. I have no regret. I fought the best I could, and I have to give Carlos the credit because he's number one guy. You know, so I give Carlos the credit. You know, people sometimes they forget I'm fighting the best guy in the world. You know, so they say, oh, the finish, but the finish, you know, it's not always easy. And I regarding the credit, I give everything I had. I have no regret. I give everything. I fought for my fan. I left everything out there, and I had fun. I had a blast tonight.
March 16th, 2013, St-Pierre versus Diaz, Montreal, Quebec. Once again, in his home country, St-Pierre is finally set to face one of his most vocal rivals, Nick Diaz.
He said, I'm sure my past doesn't compare to Nick, and I don't even know why we're asking this question. The reason why we're fighting each other is because I believe Nick is the best guy right now in mixed martial art, and I'm fighting him because he's the best guy. Has nothing to do with.
Yeah, but you told the fans that I deserve to get beat down, and you told the fans that I chased you around, or you told the fans.
You told the fan I was scared of you and avoiding you.
Yeah, I got the fight too, right? You can understand
Absolutely.
that. I'm working towards something here. All right, everybody knows that, you know. And sorry I had to do that to get the fight, but you know, you know, they're selling you all wolf tickets, people. You're eating them right up. George here is selling you wolf tickets. Dana here, he's selling you wolf tickets. The UFC is selling you some wolf tickets. You guys are eating them right up. That's what happened, bro.
Do you really think I'm afraid of you?
Hey, that's fine. Okay, no, I don't.
You think I'm afraid of you, man? Are you crazy in your head, man? I'm not scared of you. You'll see Saturday if I'm scared of you.
All right. I'm intimidating, right? That's my plan, to intimidate you out. Okay. I don't believe that the world champion is afraid of me.
I don't
believe the world champion is afraid of anything.
I'm not on steroid, man.
I don't think that. I don't think you're scared of anybody, bro. I don't. We'll see if they test who for steroids or what.
I hope they do.
Okay. Yeah. You hope they do. What, for me to test positive for steroids? Ain't gonna happen.
St-Pierre wins by unanimous decision.
My game plan was to stay. He's very good in boxing range, and a close boxing range. I didn't want to fight a fight in a close boxing range. I wanted to fight a fight in a kickboxing range, all the way in or all the way out. And on the ground, he was very hard to control. He had a very unusual style of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is very hard to train for because I brought a lot of very good high-level guy, but nobody is quite similar to him. I never seen someone like this. So it was very hard to hit and very hard to control. It was very slippery too. I got a little bit tired too. Tell you the truth, around the third round, it was weird. But I give my best, and it was a tough fight. It was at animosity before the fight. Then after the fight, yes, it's true, we hug. And then right when I went to do an interview with Ariel Lawani said that he just said that I hit like a girl, that he want to fight me in a rematch immediately. So I guess we're back into where we were. But I don't take it personal. I mean, he's got he been in this. I always respect everybody who do this job. It's a very tough sport that we're into. It's the UFC. They have the best fighter in the world, and we all come from a different background. But to reach the point where we are in the UFC, it takes a lot of sacrifice. We all come from a different road, and I have the highly respect for everybody who fight in the UFC. Everyone, I have the highly respect for everyone, because that's mean they made a lot of sacrifice to be there, and they work very hard.
November 16th, 2013, UFC 167, St-Pierre versus Hendricks, Las Vegas, Nevada. St-Pierre will defend his belt for the 9th consecutive time against Johny Hendricks.
Leading up to your fights in the past, oftentimes not a lot of drama. A lot of drama going up to this one. And let's start with this. La Presse, a couple weeks ago, you told them you were, quote, very disappointed in the UFC, that they didn't back you up with the whole drug testing thing. Where do you stand on this now? Are you still upset with them?
I'm not upset, it's just that I'm the one who stepped in the cage, and of course I care if my opponent is on illegal substance because it gives a significant advantage. But I believe I'm the best fighter in the world, and I will overcome anything if anything bad is done.
Do you believe Johny is on any kind of illegal substance?
I never said anything like this. The only thing I said is I'm a man of my word. I said I was going to do the VADA testing, and he said the same thing, but he refused to do it. And I cannot speak for him, the reason why he refused to do it. I wanted to do it because I'm a man of my word. I wanted to raise the bar for the sport, do something good. And unfortunately, he didn't keep his word, you know. So I didn't say anything. You have to ask him. Listen, the question, I've been asked the same question. There's been 3 fights already. I love my job. I said 3 fights ago, and I'm saying the same thing. I don't know when I'm gonna retire. It could be in 1 week, could be in 5 years, and 10 years. But right now, I'm really happy with what I do. I feel very happy, very motivating, and I'm planning my next fight, not my retirement.
St-Pierre wins a controversial split decision. At the post-fight press conference, GSP announces his retirement from MMA.
I'm blown away that George St-Pierre won that fight. And listen, I'm a promoter. He's the biggest pay-per-view star on the fucking planet for me, and I still don't think he won that fight. I want what's fair, and that wasn't fair. I think the Nevada State Athletic Commission is atrocious. I think the governor needs to step in immediately before these guys destroy this sport like they did boxing. Who has the next question?
Well, if just to follow up on that, I mean, we talk about it all the time. What alternatives are there, and specifically to Nevada?
The alternatives are that the governor needs to step in and fix the incompetence that is happening in the state of Nevada that used to be the best commission in the world. It's absolute 100% incompetence, and it needs to stop. It needs that. I'm fucking scared to come back here and do fights. I'm afraid of this state. You know, and it's not about what's you know, and I guarantee if you did a poll, I mean, not many people think George St-Pierre won that fight. I haven't talked to anybody except Dave Meltzer and the other gentleman here who, outside of here, thinks that George St-Pierre won that fight.
So, what was your take? Can you explain what you said on television about you were upset that George was talking about retiring and not giving Johny a rematch?
I'm not upset about him. Listen, when a guy wants to retire, I mean, did he say he wants to retire? He didn't say, I'm going to retire, I'm hanging it up, it's been great, everybody. Thanks a lot for all the years, see you later. He said, I'm going to take some time off, and it's enough. First of all, that decision that happens, right? You don't just say, hey, I'm going to take a while off, maybe I'll be back, maybe I won't. You owe it to the fans, you owe it to that belt, you owe it to this company, and you owe it to Johny Hendricks to give him that opportunity to fight again. Unless you're going to retire. You know, I told you guys a million times, he's got plenty of money. He can retire. That's a fact. He could absolutely, positively do that. There's no, hey, listen, I'm going to go on a cruise and, you know, I'm going to be gone for 2 years and, you know, I'm going to take a hiatus. I'm going to take a leave of absence. I'm going to, whatever the hell it was that he was saying, that's not how it works. It doesn't work that way.
I thought I won 3 rounds out of 5. I thought the last round was the decisive one, and I left everything I had. Like I left it all in the Octagon. People can say whatever they want. It's up to the judges. But I give my best, and my hands up to Johny Hendricks. I get very emotional after a fight. You know, I have so much stress, so much stuff going on in my life right now, and I don't know what to say. I mean, it is what it is, you know. Sorry, I'm late. I had to get some stitches. You know, they give me some stitches, but I didn't want to miss this. I just came out of a freaking war, you know. The guy that hit like a truck, you know. My brain get bashed left and right inside my skull, you know. So I just need need to think and you know what I mean, see what's gonna happen. You know, I get very emotional. Anyway, I'm gonna have a talk with the guys and see what's gonna happen. You know, and I say thank you everyone for the support. You know, the UFC always been there with me and they always support me. They're the one who made me my lifestyle with my family. I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to them, and I will never turn my back to UFC, never ever. Like I said, I need to think. I have stuff going on in my life, and I cannot. I need to make a point in my life, okay? And this is my personal life. I cannot speak to you about this. You're a reporter. I know your job is to make a thing public, but I have a personal life. I keep personal some of my stuff. And the only thing I can say about this fight is I give my best. Like it or hate it, I give everything I had. And I'll say thanks to Johny for the fight, and thank you for the fan and everybody. I hope they appreciate the show. I give it all. I left everything in here and there.
April 25th, 2015, UFC 186, Johnson versus Horiguchi, Montreal, Quebec. After the loss to Sonnen, Bisping would alternate wins and losses over his next 6 fights, including victories over Brian Stann, Alan Belcher, and Kung Lee, but losses to Tim Kennedy, Vitor Belfort, and Luke Rockhold. This time, he is matched up against CB Dollaway.
I'm going to beat CB Dollaway on Saturday night, and then hopefully I get a quick turnaround and that will be successful. Then I'll start talking about title shots again. In the meantime, Rockhold will beat Weidman, as much as it pains me to say that, and then hopefully I get my rematch with Rockhold this time next year. You're looking at the new middleweight champion of the world. There you go. Yeah. There you go.
Bisping would win by decision.
We talked the other day about how you've never lost 2 straight. Is there something about having your back against the wall, coming off a loss, that makes you perform particularly better?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, obviously, I'm always as motivated as I possibly can be going into every fight, you know. But I don't know. You know, I mean, I love doing this. I love being a part of this sport. I love being a part of the UFC, and I want to do it for a long time. And losing 2 in a row doesn't go hand in hand with being one of the best in the world, and I think I am. I know I can get that belt one day. You know, I'm just got to keep winning fights though.
February 27th, 2016, UFC Fight Night 84, London, England. Still searching for that definitive victory in the UFC, Bisping is given an opportunity against former middleweight champion Anderson Silva.
See you in London, my friend.
Yeah, see you. Good luck, buddy.
Good luck.
Say hi for your family, right?
No Viagra.
No, just my punch in your face.
Hey, don't.
Relax. Don't worry,
My
man.
shin to your chin.
Yes.
Whoa.
I'm old.
You're
But,
old.
you know, I'm old, but I'm more smart. I'm champion for a long time, remember?
Yes, on steroids.
Remember? No, I understand. But give me a hug, Come on, man. I know, I understand your frustration for never go for the belt. But this is your chance. Good luck. I see you in London,
I ain't gonna need luck. It's good.
I see you in London.
Bye, sweetheart.
Hey,
I'm gonna fuck you.
Love you, man.
He's never fought anybody with my footwork, with my confidence, with my movement, with my variety of strikes, with my wrestling. I can put it all together, and I'm stronger, I'm faster. Listen, all that aside, cut all that bullshit. I want it more than Anderson. It's as simple as that. I want it more, and you can't put it any simpler than that. Everywhere he goes, he has a huge entourage. The open workouts, he's got 20 people with him. I'm there, me and my boxing coach, and you might say that's because he's a big star or whatever. I want this more. Friday nights, I'm there by myself, pitch black, out running the pavements, screaming because I'm pushing my body so hard, pushing it to the limit. If I'm running past people or anyone that had the window down in the cars, they think this guy's crazy. On my own, nobody, by myself. I guarantee he's not doing that. He doesn't want this like I want it. Fact. And I'm going to win this fight.
I think you can strongly argue that he is the greatest fighter in UFC history to never fight for the belt. Does this sort of feel like his unofficial title shot in your opinion?
Yeah, without a doubt. This is a big night for Bisping. here back in England, in front of his country, against Anderson Silva, a fight that he's always wanted. This is the unofficial title fight for Mike.
Everybody here, thank you all for supporting me throughout the years. It means the world to me. When I step into that cage tomorrow, I'm doing it on behalf of myself and Great Britain. Thank you all. This man is a cheat. This man is a fraud, and I will make you pay for your mistakes tomorrow night, my friend. All the needles in your ass, all the steroids will not help you. You pussy.
In one of the best fights of the year, Bisping narrowly defeats Anderson Silva by decision.
Wow. How do you put that into words? The fight of your life, on your home turf, you beat Anderson Silva. What's going through your mind right now?
I don't know. It's just, I guess I've been in this position many times, and I don't know. They all kind of feel the same. Of course, it was a big win. I thought I nearly finished him in the second round. I think it was. I thought I was going to get it, but it was a tough fight. It was a great fight, and I always knew I could beat the guy, and I did that. I thought I won the majority of the rounds. Of course, round 3 went to him, of course. But other than that, I thought I controlled the fight. What's going through my mind? I don't know. I mean, I have been here many, many times. Relief. Relief. That's, if I could sum up the emotion, it's relief. It's always relief. Obviously you have your critics. Obviously, I'm at a certain age now. And people are always trying to write me off, so it's relief for now. I did it. I overcame that hurdle, and I proved to everybody I could do it. But again, before we know it, I'm going to be back in the same position again.
Third round, very controversial. How does a veteran like Michael Bisping make that mistake and focus on the mouthpiece and not the task at hand?
Well, my mouthpiece left my mouth, and there was a break. We weren't exchanging blows. Of course, he was trying to stalk me down, and I was using my footwork to back away. I was talking to Herb Dean, saying, Herb, my mouthpiece, the guy, thank you very much. The guy, I don't want to lose my teeth. Contrary to popular belief, the British all don't have bad teeth, and mine are okay. I don't know, Herb Dean really needs to, I blame Herb Dean for all of this.
Right. Why didn't you ask for the title shot after? You just beat the greatest of all time. That was your. Why did you? Is it just because of the relief?
I don't know. I should have done it. It never occurred to me at the time. I guess it was just relief and the emotion. For me, this was a personal test, a personal challenge, and I overcame that. So I wasn't thinking about my next fight. I was thinking about, I thought about my children, my family, and that's why I got a little emotional. So I wasn't thinking about my next fight.
June 4th, 2016, UFC 199, Rockhold versus Bisping, Inglewood, California. Originally booked as a rematch between champion Luke Rockhold and former champion Chris Weidman, Bisping replaces an injured Weidman on 2.5 weeks' notice.
Luke says that he's on a different level to everybody else and that he's by far the best fighter and he can destroy anybody and this, that, and the other. Well, if that is the case, then it turns out that he's a liar because the guy has a bit of vagina inside him because he turned down Ronaldo Jacare, whatever his name is. He turned the fight down. I didn't turn this fight down. 2 weeks, 2 days, 2 hours. I don't care. I'll take on anyone, anytime, any place. Certainly this asshole.
I think people have always been drawn away from confidence for some reason. That people are haters. They want to see you lose. Some people strive to achieve things and some people strive to hate. If you think something, the likelihood of it happening is very slim. If you believe in something, if you know something is going to happen, if you're confident in that situation, you will achieve things in life. That's how you overcome things. That's how you put yourself out there. You believe it and you achieve it. And that's what I do. I know what I'm going to do. I know that I'm better than this.
Sounds like
I
the
know
worst
that I'm going to knock
self-help book
him out.
you've ever read. Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the fuck up. Listen.
Yeah.
You're talking like you're like this dominant champion. You just won the belt. This is your first defense. It's not like you're Anderson Silva, who I just beat, by the way. Okay, this is your first defense. You're gonna lose the belt.
And
just
watch
get
the
used
difference.
To it.
Watch the difference. What happens?
All right, cool.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'll separate myself in the back. I'll
listen,
show
bro,
you
everybody
and the
here
world that
knows
I'm that much
you won
better
the
than
first
you
fight.
and Anderson.
Everybody here knows you won the first fight. Congratulations. Yeah. Good job. Every fight is different, my friend. Every fight is different. You know that.
Hey.
So, what? You got something to say? Finish your sentence. You said, hey.
You're just an average bloke. You're just an average bloke.
Good use of English
I'm a
terminology.
fucking samurai. I'm gonna come in there
What
silent,
the fuck is
undetected,
this?
and I'm
A
gonna knock you
samurai
out. I'm gonna make my
conceive,
kill,
believe, achieve.
and I'm gonna fucking
Stop
be
it.
out.
You're making a
I'll
fool
be
of
out on the
yourself.
next contract. Watch me.
All right, buddy. All right, listen. What are you gonna do?
Silent.
Kick?
Undetected,
A left
done,
kick, a right
over,
hook. That's all
paid,
you got.
next.
So predictable. So predictable, buddy.
Hey, guess what?
Yeah, go
right
ahead.
hook, you're gonna see something completely different. I haven't even used my left leg this whole camp. I haven't grappled a bit, just to let you know. Come,
My God.
come get me.
Well, why did last time you turn into a wrestler all of a sudden?
I've been
trying to
boxing
take me
this
down?
whole camp.
You couldn't get near me. You couldn't get a glove on me. You had to come in, try and wrestle me, take me down, stick a headbutt on me while you're at it as
I
well.
didn't take you down.
know?
I didn't go for a
You tried to
takedown.
take me down. Don't
No,
lie.
clinch fighting
Don't
is
lie.
completely
Whatever.
different.
I can't wait for Saturday, guys.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Michael,
I get to walk
It's gonna be
in
a short
on 2
night for
weeks'
you.
notice. I get to punch him in the face and become world champion at the same time. I am a happy man.
Bisping wins by knockout and becomes the new UFC 185-pound champion. October 8th, 2016, UFC 204, Bisping vs. Henderson 2, Manchester, England. Bisping's first title defense will be a rematch against the 45-year-old Dan Henderson.
Big fan of yours, mate. Great to see you finally the champion. You deserve it.
Cheers, mate.
After this fight, when you knock Dan Henderson out, who do you want to fight?
Well, you know, it's like this. I mean, I know a lot of people are whining and complaining about the top four, but number one, Rockhold, I just knocked him out. Number two, Chris Weidman just got spanked big time off Rockhold. 3, Jacare just got beat off Romero, and Romero is suspended for taking steroids. So if one of them can get their act together and win a fight, then I'll fight any of them. Chris Weidman, he's been spouting for a bit, so maybe, who knows, maybe Chris Weidman, if he can win his fight, of course, then I would love to shut his stupid mouth up, because I'm sick of him, to be honest.
What's up, Manchester? Who wants to see Hendo get knocked the F out? Come on, make some noise. Guys, this is the pinnacle of my career. It doesn't get any better than this. I'm the champion, defending it in Manchester. Someone shut this dickhead up over here. Mate, you're going down, pal. Fuck you. Fuck Henderson. Manchester, let's fucking do this. Fuck you.
Bisping wins a very closely contested brawl by decision and retains the belt.
What rounds did you think you took?
Well, you know, the first round, I mean, it was almost finished, real close, and you know, I thought that was obviously a 10-8 round, but you never know, which is why I wanted to, you know, I thought I won the first 2 rounds, he won the 3rd and 4th, and I wanted to make sure I went out and won the 5th, and I felt like I did that, went out and took him down, landed some decent shots on him. You know, he honestly, I didn't feel hurt once in the whole fight from anything. He with the exception of one leg kick that hurt my thigh a little bit. That was about the only thing I felt in the fight. You know, it was unfortunate. And obviously, by looking at him, he felt some of the shots that I hit him with. So it was, I don't know, I'm just real frustrated. I'd have to go home and watch it again to really be a little more educated talking to you guys about it, but that's how I was thinking. That's what was going through my head during the fight. I wanted to make sure that just in case I didn't want to end up with a draw, I wanted to make sure I won the fight and wanted to win that 5th round.
November 4th, 2017, UFC 217, Bisping vs. St-Pierre, New York City, New York. After almost 4 years away from professional MMA, George St-Pierre returns to the cage and moves up in weight to face middleweight champion Michael Bisping as the main event in the UFC's second offering at Madison Square Garden.